Hey, Mike with Vanco here, and today's video I'll be walking you through a simple 10-step school event planning checklist to rock your next event, so let's get into it. Now, as you're probably aware, there's a lot that goes into planning a successful event for your school, and if you don't have a solid plan, it can really limit the success of your overall event. So again, in today's video, I'll be walking you through 10 simple steps to plan a successful event. And so the first step is to clearly outline your event objectives. Now, when it comes to planning an event, you want to have solid objectives and goals for your event. That way you can measure the success of your event, determine what worked well and what didn't, and it also helps you keep on track when you have a clear goal to shoot for. And so when it comes to planning your goals, you want to make them SMART goals. So again, when it comes to SMART goals, you want to focus on them being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So when it comes to setting your goal, for example, maybe you want to set it as raising $10,000 for your athletic department based on this event. And with that as the overall goal, you can work backwards on how you want to achieve that. The second step to planning a successful event is to develop a solid budget. And so this is really important. You want to track this. It's great to set up a spreadsheet as well and indicate everything that goes into the event. So maybe that's food, maybe it's refreshments, transportation, paying for the venue, if you need to hire security, or if you need to pay to staff the event. All of these different factors you really want to track and make sure you budget for them. And then you want to keep that in a centralized document, likely a spreadsheet. This is also important because if you host a successful event, likely you're going to want to host this type of event again in the future. And if you document what you've spent on various elements of your event, it allows you to adjust those figures in the future, or maybe figure out more cost-effective ways to host the event a second time, while being just as successful, but spending less. So once you've established your budget, the third step is to find a venue for your event. And this is important to plan this in advance. Often you want to try and do this at least 3 months in advance to make sure you can secure the venue. It also gives you more venues to choose from, and often you'll be able to book this venue at a lower cost because you're doing it so far in advance. Again, when you know the venue in advance, it can help you properly plan on how many volunteers you might need or how much staff you might need on hand. When you know the size of the venue, it can also help you understand how many tickets you need to sell or when you might sell out for your event. All very important factors to running a successful event for your program. Now, once you've determined the venue, the fourth step is to create an event promotion plan. So this is the overall strategy of promoting your event, how you want to market it to people that will buy your tickets. So again, are you talking about it in your school newsletter? Do you have an email list you can promote your event to? Are you going to post flyers around the school? Are you going to post on your social media for your school? Maybe you even want to implement paid advertising like running Facebook ads to promote your event. Are there Facebook groups your school is a part of that you can post there to get the word out? A lot of different options, but you want to develop this strategy in advance to make sure you can maximize attendance for your event. Once that's taken care of, the next step is to set up collateral and the vendors for the event. So again, depending on the type of event that you're hosting, you might need to cater the event. Again, you might need security on hand. You might need to staff the event. You might be inviting different vendors to the event. A lot can go into that, so you want to plan that in advance and make sure everything's secure prior to your event. And again, you want to do this at least a month in advance, potentially even further out than that, to make sure you have all the vendors you need prior to hosting your event. The sixth step is to organize your volunteers and staff. Now, this is really important. You want to make sure that you find enough volunteers to host your event, or if you're paying people to host your event, you want to make sure that that's all set up in advance. Again, give people at least a month if possible so they can fit this into their schedule. You don't want people canceling last minute or announcing that you need people last minute and you aren't able to find enough people to host your event and to run your event smoothly. So make sure you plan this in advance. The next step is to organize and deploy event documentation. So what does this mean? Well, this can be building out a schedule for the event, making sure that works for everyone and that everyone that's hosting your event, catering your event, that's vendors at your event, is fully informed of what's going on, what the event schedule looks like. This could be breaking down a map of the event, where different booths are located, how ticketing is going to function, and the list can go on, but make sure you properly document and organize this aspect of your event. You want your staff and attendees to know what's going on, so make sure there's proper documentation present to pull off your event without a problem. The next step is to develop a contingency plan for your event. Now this is important. Hopefully you never have to use this, but you want to make sure that you have contingency plans in place. For example, maybe you're hosting an outdoor event. What do you do if it rains or there's bad weather? What if there's emergencies and some of your staff can't attend the event or the volunteers aren't able to make it last minute? Do you have enough people on hand to compensate for that? What if one of the vendors backs out last minute, or maybe there's an issue with the catering and you need to find an alternative last minute? Develop these different contingency plans just so you're prepared. Hopefully you don't ever need this, but having them in place is important in case there's last minute changes you need to make adjustments for to make sure your event is successful. The next step is to make your final check. And so this is happening likely the day before, maybe even the day of your event. You're going through a final checklist of everything that you need, making sure the vendors are set. You have the equipment on hand that you need. Maybe that's laptops or sound systems, a DJ. Making sure you have all the technical hookups in place. Make sure there's signs up around your event to direct people to where they need to go. You've printed out all the essential documentation. Double check all these different things the day before, or again, potentially in the morning of your event, to make sure the event is hosted without any issues. This final check is important to make sure you cover anything you might have missed and to prevent any issues throughout your event. And the final step in this event checklist is to set up an event ticketing system. So if you're looking to sell your tickets online, have an easy ticketing process when people come to your event, maybe you're even hosting an online event and you want to manage it through this system, having an event ticketing system can really streamline the process and can really make it a lot easier to run successful events for your program. And thankfully, that's where Vanco Events comes in. We've built out a simple system that you can implement in your program to streamline and make your event ticketing more efficient and to make sure your events run successfully. So if you'd like to see how simple it is to implement this system in your program, there'll be a link in the description below where you can set up a demo with our team to help you build successful events for your program. On top of that, we put together several different free resources with things like fundraising ideas, how to host successful events, and much more. So be sure to check out the description below this video to access those resources. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications to get the latest updates of new videos to help you build a successful program. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.